Hey there, Chris here. I'm gonna walk you through the 100K personal brand plan. It's the fastest way I know to add 100,000 Instagram followers for educational content creators. So we're gonna do two things today. Number one, I'm gonna walk you through each one of the stages, and two, the actual steps it takes in order to add 100,000 followers and create a strong personal brand. It's the exact steps I took in order to grow 100,000 followers in 5 weeks and what all of my clients follow. Some of them even grew 100,000 followers in 4 weeks and others 24,000 followers in 2 months. Let me show you how it's done. Growing a 100K personal brand looks a little bit like this. So we got the triangle, and what gets you here, what got you here won't get you there. So that's why we have different stages, and each stage requires a different level of focus and skill set. So on the very, very bottom on the left-hand side, you can see we've got 0 followers. That's where we all start. The first milestone we hit is the 10,000 follower mark. That's where people are really, really excited. Usually, the first 10K, super exciting. Next stage is the 30,000. Following stage is a 70,000, and then the last stage above is 100K plus. And so at the very, very bottom, we all decide to start. I feel like if you're watching this video, I don't have to convince you to start. You're probably already started, so I'm just gonna skip the starting phase. If you haven't started, start. So from 0 followers to 10,000 followers, the first stage that we'll cover is what I call sporadic. This is where you know you have to create content. You're doing it, might be inconsistent. Some days you're doing a couple posts, other days you're doing none. You're feeling overwhelmed because you have no idea what you're supposed to talk about. Am I supposed to do trends? Am I supposed to copy these formats? What ideas am I supposed to talk about? Am I supposed to talk my own one? Do I rip someone else's video? It's just overwhelming. So the sporadic stage is what most people are stuck in because you have to figure out a lot of things at the same time, which is why most people at the sporadic stage, you're gonna get no leads because you have no idea what you're doing, you're just getting the reps in. But once you get out of the 10,000 follower mark, from 10,000 followers to 30,000 followers, that is when we're gonna hit what I call solid. You have a solid understanding of the process of content creation, the ideas that people are usually talk about. You're figuring out your voice a little bit more. You understand the different, like, am I the niche or do I have to pick a niche? Like, you probably have a good intuition of what that stages are, which is why some people might get a few leads from here and there if you're positioned correctly. But it's actually really, really hard to be stuck at the solid stage because from 30,000 onwards to get there, you need a different skill set. And I'll show you, I'll cover the different skill set later on. But the next stage is what I call standout. 30,000 to 70,000 followers, that is where you're really gonna stand out because you understand, okay, this is my messaging. I'm always talking about these couple ideas. These are the topics I cover, the formats that I know how to develop. My positioning is correct. I know how to stand out against, everyone else in my niche. And it's more of like, I need to do more. And a lot of the people below, your friends or your competitors below there is like trying to figure out like, what are you doing differently in order to get, these outliers that you're creating? You're getting a few videos that are like suddenly performing really well. You're trying to double down on it. You're doing it consistently. And that's why you get some leads. The next stage from 70,000 plus, 100,000 followers plus is what I call sought after. And that's exactly what I got afterwards. It's like the second I cracked 100,000 followers, there were so many inbound leads that we are currently sold out on, as I'm recording this, 5 months straight, probably going on to 6 months straight. And you will have an abundant of leads. So let me cover the different stages. There are 3 steps you can see right here. And the 3 stages it takes, the different skill set is imitate to then innovate to finally originate. And so at the first stage, at the 10,000 follower mark, you need to imitate and when I say imitate, I do not mean ripping people's ideas and just copying word for word. Imitation is just understanding what are the process they're taking, like the top creators they're using in order to create content. Like how long are their videos? Like what structure they're following when they're speaking? What kind of hooks are they using? What kind of ideas? By imitating, you're not gonna get anywhere close, but it's just gonna close the gap because by imitating videos that performed really, really well, it's just gonna get you the reps in and the closest, in order to get you the closest to success. Then the 30,000 mark I can't speak properly, 30,000 follower mark, you then need to innovate. So you would take existing core concepts and formats and ideas and innovate it into your own way. And obviously there's a process that I'm gonna cover later on how you actually innovate on these ideas. But the second stage is to then innovate. If you're just stuck on imitating, it's not gonna get you to that next level, because all you're doing is regurgitating very, very similar type videos of other creators. But now that you have the reps in, you need to be able to innovate. And then the final stage, once you get to the 70,000 kind of plus mark, that is when you want to originate. You have the skill set, you have the ideas, you have the formats. Now you can then, you're positioned as an expert already. You want to then bring in your own thoughts. And by connecting dots, this is a bit of a tangent, but there are no new ideas. We're just connecting, an idea here with an idea here that has never been connected before. And that's what you're already doing because you're an expert. So you'll be able to pull those two together and create a new idea, but it's just a conjunction of two. So how can we originate new ideas but have them work as well? That is the level once you're 70K plus is what you're gonna get. It's what you're gonna do in order to get you to the 100K plus mark. So in the next step, I'm gonna show you the how-to in order to do each one of these stages. So you can look at your account, you can look at your content and review it, right? So what should you focus on? Where am I currently at? What system do I need to implement? So you can get the results that you're looking for. If you've seen enough and you want to work together, just DM me on Instagram. I am Chris Chung. That is my handle. DM me the word tofu, and then I will send you a doc that outlines very, very simple details. But let me show you the details now. So this is what we call the magic model. And you can see right in the middle, 100,000 followers is the main goal. And there are usually 3 big problems that stop creators and founders in order to reach there. The first one is what we call sporadic ideas. This is where you have one day you have 10 ideas, next day you have none, and even when content ideas work, you have absolutely no idea why. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's sporadic ideas. And this is what the analogy I like to use is it is the core of the candy. It is the actual candy piece. Now on the right-hand side, you can see that the next problem is bad packaging. Now, if ideas are the candy, the packaging, which is the format, is the candy wrapper. You need the candy and the candy wrapper to make a piece of candy. And so bad packaging is that they have the core ideas down. They know what they want to talk about, what the video is going to be about, but they have no idea how to actually package it together and deliver it and record. The last thing you can see down below is poor execution. You have the candy, you have the candy wrapper. It's now one piece of candy, but if you can't package it together and ship it to a customer, you can't sell any candy. So if you don't have good execution in order to understand how to actually create the video, how to actually edit the video, how to actually post the video, then you're gonna have a lot of problems. So in order to fix this, we need to follow 3 steps. Instead of sporadic ideas, we want proven ideas. These are ideas that give us the highest chance in order to succeed. Now, once we have proven ideas, the next step is instead of bad packaging, we want to have simple packaging. These are formats that we can rely on consistently to rinse and repeat. The last thing is instead of poor execution, we want to have easy execution. We don't want to spend hours and hours creating and editing videos. We have other things that we need to do. So what is the easiest workflow we can do to make sure that the videos perform, but keeping it very, very easy on us? So there are 9 steps we follow in order to fix these problems. So in this next stage, I want you to circle each one with a red, yellow, or green. If you're super confident, go with green. Not confident, red. Somewhat confident, yellow. And this is going to allow you to self-diagnose to figure out what the current problems are within your content strategy and what you should focus on next. So the first problem is instead of sporadic ideas, we want to have proven ideas. And the first step in order to get proven ideas is what I call high-TAM ideas. TAM stands for total addressable market. And so a very simple example is men who want to lose fat, watch this video. Guess who's not going to watch that video? Women, because we said that this video is specifically for men. So by doing this, I am removing half of the population. So we can play with the TAM by increasing or decreasing the TAM. We can basically control the amount of views that we want. Now, most experts struggle with TAM because they want to show you how much of an expert they are. So they might say, men who are 51 to 52 that live in Hong Kong who wants to lose belly fat, here are the 3 simple exercises that you need to follow. Extreme example, just to prove my point. So if you do that, you might end up with only 5 views. So the person that does this extremely well is my buddy Michael Smoke. You might know him as Higher Up Wellness. when I did a workshop with him, we were all constantly talk about TAM, and this is something that he excels on. So if you see any of his videos, you can see every single video is a simple talking head video. It doesn't have any fancy edits, but because his TAM is so wide, it allows that innate reach that people would love to engage with, and it just applies to a lot of people. That's why he gets the views, and that's why he gets a lot of clients. That's why his brand is growing thousands and thousands of followers every single day. So that's the first thing. So I want you to circle either red, yellow, green on this, whether you know how to effectively control your TAM. So step 2 is outlier ideas. If you don't know what outliers are, an easy example is imagine you have 100 views on average. If you suddenly get 500 views on your next reel, that is a 5x outlier. That means you did something specifically with that video, whether it's the idea or it's the packaging or what you said, that is really resonating with the audience. That's why it did 5 times the amount of views. But that is only one way in order to find outliers, and it's what most content strategists would focus on. But there's actually a better way. So this is Taki. Taki is the coaches of coaches. I absolutely love Taki. He runs a $2 million per month business with a team of 8 people. And the way that he creates content is super smart. He only likes talking about stuff that he wants to talk about, not what someone else has to tell you to talk about. So we have this, what we call an observable moments prompts. This is what all you have to do is tell it your viewer and what the main problem you help them solve. And it'll give you a list of observable moments ranked from most, many, some, and few. And so Taki can instantly just do that. It won't even give you exact talking points. It will just pinpoint the nuanced moments, so then Taki will then take, apply, create content, and absolutely crush with. So I want you to circle red, yellow, green. Do you know how to effectively find outliers? Or is it something that you just currently rely on your own ideas in order to create idea? If you're super confident, circle green. Not confident, yellow. Not confident, red, so-so, yellow. Step 3 is net new value. So with step 1 and 2 done, you're gonna know exactly what you should be talking about, right? The main core topic idea. But step 3, net new value, is what you actually say within your content. So I don't know if you've noticed, but most of traditional value content is absolutely dead. You make a video that says 3 ways to lose fat, no one watches it. That's because that worked 5, 6, 7 years ago when there's no AI, and you can just regurgitate some sort of like stuff that you Google online and say like, hey, these are the exercises that you need to do. Nowadays with AI, I can just search it and it will be even tailored to my type of body, my weight, my height, and everything, and it will be custom to me. So why would I have to consume these traditional value-based content? That's why you need to create net new value. And so net new value consists of 3 main things, but the two core things is non-obvious and highly tactical. And so non-obvious is where the viewer has never heard, highly tactical is where the viewer can use today. So what is the most effective way in order to create net new value? That is the next big thing. So this right here is Aldrin. Aldrin owns 8 premium service-based like chiropractic pro form spaces. So that does like multiple 7 to 8 figures a year. When I first met Aldrin, he was doing a lot of speed to value formats that I'm gonna talk about later. But the main thing that really helped him level up his content, he said, is the net new value. So figuring out a way in order to create net new value, using those as the insights for your content is so crucial, because I would actually go as far to say as if your content doesn't consist net new value, you might as well don't make it. So I want you to circle again, red, yellow, green, confident, not so confident, and definitely not confident in terms of creating insights that is net new value and not traditional value. So we have proven ideas sorted. We have the high-TAM ideas, the outliers, that is gonna give us the topics and ideas, and the net new value that focuses on what we're gonna talk about within each of pieces of content. We have solved proven ideas. Now we moved on to step 4, which is instead of bad packaging, we want to have simple packaging. So the first format and the main bread and butter we want to focus on is what I call speed to value formats. These are types of content that does not require any introduction. If you've watched any of my content, these are the type of like the reaction videos that I do. Sometimes people would do blind rankings, tier lists. These are videos that are quick, simple, easy to make, speed to value formats that require no explanation or introduction, and it usually gets a lot of engagement. So this is Max. Max, when I first met him, is doing, has only figured out paid advertising, but he really wanted to double down on organic content in order to make organic content work as well. And so he focuses a lot on the speed to value formats. The ones that I mentioned are just kind of surface level one, that like types of formats that most creators would make, but there are kind of nuanced ones that you would want to focus on. That's what Max did. And he's currently now, since cracked that, every single video I think he does is above like 10,000 views. And he was just telling me how he's just now crushing $50,000 in cash collected every single day, which is absolutely nuts. So circle again, red, yellow, green. Are you confident in figuring out like a diverse portfolio of speed to value formats, or are you not so confident? Step 5, talking head videos. I feel like this format requires no introduction. It's probably the one you're most familiar with. It's where you just prop up a phone and you talk directly to it. Although it looks simple, it is the hardest to master. How come? It's because there are so few elements within a talking head video that if your script, your format, your idea isn't fully dialed in, you're just gonna lose the view. So this is Jessie Jean. She absolutely is crushing it. She grew 350,000 followers within 5 months and sold a 4-week challenge that she sold for only a week and did $1.2 million. Insane. She's a good friend of mine, so on a call that we had recently, we were just talking about how little differences within talking head videos could make a big change. So one of the key points is if we tell viewers what they shouldn't do instead of what they should do, just a slight tweaking angle, people are twice as likely to trust you. So I want you to quickly circle within talking head, are you confident? Are you so-so? Are you not confident within producing high converting talking head video formats? Step 6, green screen format. This is the most underrated content format. Most creators only like to focus on the speed to value and talking head, but green screen format actually has the most amount of leverage because of trial reels. Now, most creators only focus on the traditional green screen format where they have one background, they talk for like 30 seconds or a minute long, but there are actually different ways we can manipulate it in order to make it way more engaging. And that's what we like to focus on. So this is Harry. When I first started working on the Harry, he already had over 100,000 followers, but it was kind of a dead account. He hasn't posted for a long while and the audience was slightly different. So in order to kickstart it, green screen formats was one that like he found a lot of success with. A lot of high quality leads as well. People that if I said their name, you would recognize, that are turning them from leads into clients. Now, the reason why green screens work so well is because unlike speed to value format that is more for engagement and new people into your world, talking head and green screen allows you to build a lot more authority. And that's exactly what he did. He was able to demonstrate his opinion, his expertise in order to convert people that way as well. So I want you to quickly circle whether you're confident, not so confident, or not confident at all in creating high converting green screen format videos. So we've solved simple packaging. So we've got the proven ideas, the candy, the simple packaging, the candy wrapper. The last step we need to do is to pack and ship the piece of candy so we can sell it. So the last problem is instead of poor execution, we want to have easy execution. And the first step of easy execution is curiosity hook. Now I know what you're thinking. I can download, I saw these reels that if I comment the word hooks, they send me 1,000 hooks that are proven that I can just instantly use. But those are only tactics. You don't understand the layer beneath. The layer beneath hooks is to create curiosity. So if you understand how to create curiosity, the hooks can constantly change, which is why you always want to learn the principles, not the tactics. Tactics change. Principles don't. So if you understand the principles, the tactics don't matter. So this is Jesse. When I first started working with him, he was already crushing YouTube, but he was doing a lot of the content that was tactic based. And he wanted to create more content on storytelling narratives. So in order to do that, you need to effectively implement curiosity hooks. Not only do you need to create curiosity, but we would like to use what I call the primer, and then also a super hook. By using a combination of all three, then the viewer basically is frozen. It's some Jedi mind trick that they physically can't squirrel away. So that's the thing that we implemented in order to help take Jesse's content next level. And I think he's already at like 550,000 followers or something like that on Instagram. And then a couple 100,000 followers on YouTube as well. Absolutely insane. So I want you to quickly circle if you're able to create curiosity with ease. Red, yellow, green, do that now. Step 8 is tension scripting. What is the point of stopping the viewer scroll and creating curiosity if they don't watch the rest of your video? That's where you provide the most amount of value. And so tension scripting is the process we use in order to maximize that viewer duration so they watch for as long as possible. So I won't show you their names, but you can see right here, they implemented tension scripting and did 22 million views on YouTube. And then also by implementing some of this formats and structures into AI, it's absolutely crushing their hooks and the way that their videos have performed. So I want you to quickly circle whether you're able to write your scripts and create tension throughout so the viewer feels like they can't scroll away, they really want to stick around until the very end, or if you aren't able to do that effectively. The last step is simple edits. Now, you don't have to be an editing wizard, but there should be a simple list of housekeeping rules you follow every single time for each video to ensure that it is of high quality. This is the difference between a video that gets a lot of views and only so-so views. So I want you to quickly circle whether you're confident in your editing, red, yellow, green. Do that now. We're sorted. If you zoom out, there's gonna be a bunch of red, yellow, and greens. And I want you to quickly circle what are the top 3 things that if you focus on the next 30, 60, or 90 days is gonna give you the best results. Guess what? We've just found your constraints. And behind each one of those, there's a set of tools, strategies, and playbooks that we install plug and play in order to get the results. If you want to learn more about working together, go to my Instagram, I am Chris Cheung, send me the word tofu, and I'll send you a simple doc that outlines all the details. There's no book a call, there's no opt-in funnel or whatnot. It's just a simple doc. If you read it, it makes sense, then you take the next step. If you don't, no worries at all. Wish you all the best. Talk soon.